The Chaz, the Capitol Hill Androgynous Zone, or excuse me, the Autonomous Zone, is dead. Mayor Jenny Durkin finally decided to put an end to the little rebellion that could. Let's take a moment and reflect on this dumpster fire. Antifa had taken over 6 blocks of Seattle in a move that took more balls than I gave them credit for. They immediately armed themselves like the NRA and built the wall so fast Trump would be proud. They also put up signs at their border declaring you were leaving the US. That's right, they seceded from the Union, just like the Confederacy. Within their barriers, protected by armed guards, they had a lush garden which was segregated based on race. Areas were created where only specific races were allowed to go into.
Welcome to hang out in the perimeter area.
Well, the thing is, I'm half Italian, half Colombian, so do I get a pass to get in there, or?
Well, this space is right now held for just black folks.
Oh, just black, okay.
This is where Chaz citizens might say it was never Chaz, it was CHOP, as in Capitol Hill Organized Protest, and they never seceded from the Union. Well, that's half right. It did eventually get renamed CHOP. When did this change occur? Perhaps when they realized they couldn't farm up their own independent supply of soy. Or perhaps when they remembered what happened to the Confederacy and backed out. But no, Chaz citizens had a better explanation. It wasn't them. Someone else came in and put up Chaz and Autonomous Zone signs all over the place, right under their noses. It was all a ploy. And the organized protest just didn't think to take the signs down.
Okay, from Chaz to CHOP. We talked a little bit off camera about that name change, the idea behind that. Just kind of rehash some of what you said earlier.
Oh, so that name, Chaz, we didn't actually come up with. We're not sure if it were detractors or people were trying to push a false narrative, but they definitely came in with that name, came in with signs, and they had nothing to do with our movement so far.
This defense isn't hard to see through. I still see people attempting to claim that Antifa doesn't exist. Antifa isn't real, and if it is real, it's just a few people. Okay, Antifa is real, but it's not an organization. Okay, Antifa is an organization, but they didn't do that. Blah, 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 on and on and on. For people who want to abolish the police force, they were very quick to establish one. Then they had to face the realization that every Second Amendment supporter has been preaching since the ink dried. He who has the guns makes the rules. And they didn't seem to be very interested in keeping order.
I have rights? What the fuck is this shit? I just had my keys broken, stolen, got jumped, had my phone stolen, and these fucks let it all happen. Holy shit! You're alright, man. It's just a bad day. Really? Give me my keys back then!
And so here we had an armed secessionist, segregationist state in the middle of Seattle, and officials did nothing. The police were ordered to abandon the police precinct in that zone. The reason is horrifying when you stop to think about it. Officials were hoping Trump would rain down fire like Emperor Minsk.
By the flood, the Confederacy is no more. Whatever semblance of unity and protection it once provided is a phantom.
Instead, no one acted and Chaz was left to play out. And very unfortunately, violence became commonplace. Even the people virtue signaling to disprove the obvious found themselves victims of these peaceful protesters.
This is just another wall of our art, our expression of our feelings.
Since seceding from the Union, Chaz citizens and the movements who helped create Chaz insisted that Chaz be a police-free area and continued to push for police to be abolished in the states. Well, until a man was shot in their lawless free state, and he is now seeking legal help to sue the police for their slow response in a police-free zone. Unfortunately, this was not the end of the shootings. 2 young men, 16 and 14, were shot by Chaz's armed guards. Both were unarmed. From here, the mayor had finally decided to shut Chaz down. Yet some say this is only due to violence striking a little close to Mayor Jenny Durkin's home. And that is the sad end of this story of this little Confederacy. Just a little taste of what society would be like if we were ruled by those who thought Chaz was a good idea, who thought that Chaz was the answer. Thank you for listening. As always, if you feel so inclined, please leave a like and a follow. This is Heretic Prince. Drink a beer for me.